I feel like everyone but me took a peek into those leaks because why did everyone in my comments know it was Marshall? Literally just broke my neck wondering. Anyway. This episode was fun. It was fun, okay? It was fun, it was funny, and I know I saw some people on Reddit being like, is anyone else just watching for fun at this point and not trying to figure it out? Yes, I wish. I wish. But as soon as I see a clue, my brain is like, bitch, you thought. Let's figure this shit out. And clearly I'm still not figuring it out. My only disappointment really is the lack of bakula incrimination. As soon as I saw the pages flying as Saz hit her protege, I knew it was Marshall. Everyone knew it was Marshall apparently. But yeah, as soon as those pages were flying in the air, very much giving Wonder Boys, it was Marshall. So let's discuss this. It was Marshall. So the problem with the film was Marshall. The stunt double who caused problems for Saz, the relationship Saz was trying to run away from, the reason Saz called Bev that night, the person who shot her from the Dudenoff place that night, the print on the thingy next to the windowsill, the person who shot Glenn, the person who eventually went to the hospital to kill Glenn, Marshall. So everything points to the fact that Marshall killed Saz to try to hide the fact that he stole Saz's screenplay for the film about the Only Murders in the Building podcast, and then killed Glenn or shot Glenn because Glenn recognized Marshall and maybe knew more than he should, and he shot Glenn and then went to the hospital to finish the business just as Glenn had awoken and was going to tell the trio everything. Right. It kind of makes sense, and it's a fun revelation that Marshall was behind all of it because he was a fraud and Saz was really the talented one, which claps for Saz. However, I don't understand one thing, and I hope they explain it in the final episode. I don't understand the why now for Saz's murder, because she had just called Bev, and she had just told Charles about the very sensitive thing she had to talk to him about. So how did Marshall know so quickly that she was going to spill on the screenplay? I'm thinking the same thing I was thinking before, like in the first 2 episodes, that whatever had happened, even before I knew it was Marshall, Saz must have talked to someone or confronted her killer for them to know she was going to do this. So either Saz had confronted Marshall about the screenplay and he knew she was going to spill the beans, or the person she talked to confirm this in the film told Marshall and Marshall knew. Saz went to the party with the intent to tell Charles, and she was already fearing for her life. Otherwise, she wouldn't have hidden the screenplay in the beer she gave to Oliver, right? So she had either confronted Marshall or had talked to someone who knew Marshall, and she had some idea that he would figure it out and that he was dangerous enough that she wanted to have an assurance and did it by placing the screenplay in the beer she gave to Oliver. But how did he know the code to the Dudenoff place? Like, would Saz really tell him if she didn't trust him this much? Like, would she just freely converse with him about her investigation into the Arconia and give him the code to the apartment? I'm confused about that. Like, how did he get the code? Could he have been snooping in Saz's apartment and was Marshall, I mean, it had to be Marshall, the person who was in Saz's apartment when the trio was there, right? He must have been there to kind of like clean up anything that directed the trio towards him, any evidence connecting Saz to Marshall. And the other thing I'm thinking about is, are we supposed to consider the Westies the other murderer in the building? Like, is that the ending of that mystery? Because I thought the Westies were like a red herring, you know, they weren't actually murderers. But Saz maybe believed they were the murderers in the building. So what I'm thinking is there another murderer in the building? Is that going to be season 5? Or are the Westies the other supposed murderers in the building? Please someone clarify this to me, because it isn't clear in my mind what they expect us to think about this. From the way that the structure of the show is turning out to be, the last episode kind of seems like it's going to start with the revelation of Marshall and him maybe being arrested or him trying to run away and explaining everything that happened, like giving his side of the story, maybe to the police, maybe to the trio, I don't know. And then the second half of the episode will be the wedding between Oliver and Loretta, and then maybe someone else will die, probably someone else will die in the wedding, and that will carry on to season 5. So what I'm thinking is, are the Westies supposed to be this other murderer in the building, or is this last murder that might take place at the wedding going to be the final mystery of the final murderer in the building? Listen, regardless of whether they have a season 5 or not, Loretta better not die. Oliver they can kill. Loretta, no. I will throw knives. I will throw the computer out of the window, because I watch everything on my computer, not on television. I will throw knives. I will become Knives from Scott Pilgrim. Should I try the haircut? No. I've been thinking about personalizing my hair because it's too long and I need to cut it. And I keep thinking about all these Manic Pixie Dream Girl haircuts, and I need to no Manic Pixie Dream Girl. Oh my god, my Portuguese accent just came out. Manic Pixie Dream Girl. I've been learning English since I was 9, so I don't have much of an accent anymore, but it has been there before. Do you know what really makes sense to me, and I'm actually seriously enjoying, is the fact that in my last video, I did like a huge rewatch of the show, and one of the things I noticed was the fact that Saz was the first person to notice the potential of the Only Murders in the Building podcast for a Hollywood film. And she was actually freaking writing it. Like, from the very first season, she noticed the potential and she told Charles that he was about to be Tarantino'd. And she actually wrote it. So, for once, it does make sense that she would write the screenplay, and it connects to something they already established in season 1, which made me extremely happy. Very happy. And it was also around the time she took Marshall in, about 2 years ago, that she met him. So she was writing the screenplay, or would be writing the screenplay soon enough, when she met him. Which is the supposed time when Marshall would have started writing the screenplay. So I like that it makes sense like that. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Some dots connected, and I felt satisfaction in the core of my being. A little bit of satisfaction. Not as much as watching Agatha all along, but a little bit. Before I end the video, I want to revisit some of my questions, unanswered questions that I pointed out in my last video, because some of them are going to remain unanswered and maybe aren't even questions. They're just like aspects of the logic of the show that don't really work, but then are just the logic of the show and we have to accept them. But anyway, I think we are meant to accept that the other murderer in the building who was looking at Charles were the Westies. That's what makes the most sense, I guess. The tap on the floor was not really a clue. It was just like an emotional cue for Charles. But I guess we could also imagine that Saz was trying to hint towards the idea that her murderer was a stunt person with the tap in, because that's what she used to say when she went in for Charles, right? Man, can you imagine if like I saw the tap in reference connected to the fact that she used to say tap in when she would replace Charles, and just connected it to the fact, oh, it must be a stunt person. still would have never thought of Marshall. Charles and Saz's blood type doesn't come into play? Come on. I want to see him giving blood to an alive Saz. I mean, I don't like the Saz is alive theory, but it would be cool to see the blood type thing having like an impact on the show. Also, we will never know why Charles is so familiar with the Portuguese flag. The one question left unanswered is, why did Marshall steal his shoes? You know? Because in my mind, in my delusional theorist mind, I'm thinking, oh, the director is the killer. He's lying about Marshall stealing the shoes. But I know he's not because, well. And my final question is, Mabel, my girl, why are you once again confronting a possible killer by yourself? Take the script, leave your apartment, lock it on your way out, say you're going to get some yogurt or something, and call the detective. Call the police. Why? She took out the script. She saw, oh, it says Saz wrote it. Could he have killed Saz because of this? Is the first thing she's going to have on her mind. And she just confronts the killer. Mabel. Oh my God, I almost burned myself on a candle. It smells really nice. But I'm very careless. I have a strange energy today. Anyway, Mabel, that's my final question. I really hope, you know what? Yeah, I really hope that this is not the final revelation like it was in season 1 with Jan. I hope there's another final revelation and we understand a little bit better what the happened and why is Marshall so freaking evil. This is the thing that I'm annoyed as well, because Jan is clearly just a psychopath, and the way that Marshall is acting, in the way that he is just using people in his life to attain his goals, and just he's giving off the same kind of vibe, and I don't like it. Like, I want a murder case like the ones in season 2 and 3 where the killers are not exactly evil, but it's just a fucked up situation. That's the good stuff, you know, when the murder turns out to be just, yeah. Maybe I'm exaggerating because Marshall does have objectives in wanting to be a screenwriter and isn't killing anyone just because they saw a ring. But still, I hope for a bigger revelation. And then I will complain about it as well. Because it's the point of being a fan of this show, or enjoying it at least. You are always a little bit disappointed because it creates so many scenarios in your head that it can never fulfill. So it's good that at least it's really funny, you know, even if the murder plot doesn't fulfill all of my expectations, because it could never. At least it's a really funny show. And the moment between Charles and Oliver, this episode was really cute. When you switched the pictures, really cute. All right, that's it. I have to be very honest with you guys. The Amelia Andrew Garfield chicken chop date has given me more in the 11 minutes of the interview date than the entire season of Only Murders in the Building. Yeah. It's part of the history books now. Oh my God, someone should do a chronically online history book. Can you imagine someone teaching like a course in university about the chronically online culture? This chicken chop plate will be there for sure. That's all I know. Anyway, see you Thursday with a new Agatha All Along episode. Bye.